Manatili po tayong nakatayo para tayo magkaroon ng isang tahimik na panalangin para sa ating kapayapaan, lalo na sa ating mga kapatid sa Mindanao. The Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we call the roll of members. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to call the roll of the members.
Roll call of members, Honorable Representatives Abad, Abaya, Abayon, Avellanosa, Abu,
Order in the House! Order in the House!
Asharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adyong, Agbincula, Agaraw, Agabao, Gipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Tonino, Antonio, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagao, Bagatsing, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batocabe, Bautista, Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte St. Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondoc, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maria Vida, Rosas, Bulot Bectang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Jari, Casila o Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Fred, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serápica, Ceriles Chávez, Chifeco, Co, Juanco, Collantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cosalán, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Dalog, Daza, de Jesús, de Venecia, de Vera, de Pensor, del Mar, del Rosario, de la Somontalia, de Maporo Abdullah, de Mapolo Mohammed, Duabit, Durano D, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Eriguel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Berdone, Fariñas, Hernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferrior, Florendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Pentebella, Garbin, García Gwendolyn, García Enrique, García Albano, Garin, Oscar, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gachalian, Heron, Goana, Cristina, Gom Mark, Gómez, Gonzaga, González Alexandria, González Aurelio, González Fernando, Gorizeta, Gulias Hernández, Herrera D, Hopper, Los Hos, Javier, Co, Conjun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Leachon, Lee, Lim Kaichong, Lobregat, Lopez Benhar, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal-Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mamadadato Suharto, Mamadadato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martínez, Matugas, Meliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles, Jericho, Nograles, Carlo, Nolasco, Núñez, Malañaon, Oaminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega, Pablo, Ortega Bini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Manotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia, Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramiresato, Ramos, Relámpagos, Revilla, Puno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodríguez Isidro, Rodríguez Máximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque Hari, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar Mary, Sabeliano, Sema, Siao, Silberto, Singson, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Sherni, Tejada, Tebes, Tianco, Ting, Tinio, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Turabinataman, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Clarex, Uy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villapuerte, Villanueva, Villarraza Suárez, Villarica, Villarín, Violago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Zarate, Subiri. The speakers present. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 251 members responded to the call.
With 251 members responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the deferment of the the approval of journal of the previous session.
Any objection? The chair hearing none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now proceed with the reference of business and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions of first reading, as well as communications and committee reports.
Any objection? The chair hearing none. The motion is approved.
Reference of business bills on first reading, House Bill number 5744, an act providing for the inclusion of the continuing driver's education program, Representative Lacson.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 5746, providing for a system of redistributing and recycling food waste, Representative Calixto Rubiano.
To the Special Committee on Food Security.
House Bill number 5749, an act to preserve and protect all waters for recreation in the Philippines, Representative Bagaching.
To the Committee on Ecology.
House Bill number 5751, upholding the economic welfare of volunteer responders, children, and or dependents in the event of their death, Representative Castello.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 5752, safeguarding the maritime territorial integrity of the Philippines, Representative Savillano.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 5753, establishing an aquatic research and experimental breeding station for lake, river, and other inland fishes, Representative Savillano.
To the Committee on Aquaculture and Fishery Resources.
House Bill number 5759, converting the Binuan, Alinsolong, Embarcadero, Holog, Botongan Road, Representative Tupas.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 5760, converting the road stretching from barangays Maitim 2 Central, Maitim 2 West, Silang Crossing West, and Maharlika East in the city of Tagaytay, Representative Tolentino.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 5761, requiring farmers to secure compulsory crop insurance for palay and other products, Representative Antonio.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 5762, requiring hospitals to waive parking fees, Representative Antonio.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 5760, creating the National Cancer Control Committee, Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 5764, converting Santo Rosario Street from Jerry Angel Street to Mindanao Avenue, Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 5765, requiring public telecommunications entities to provide nationwide mobile number portability, Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 5766, granting Franklin privilege to the National Labor Relations Commission, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 5767, declaring as national heroes those who led the revolution against Spain, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 5768, establishing maternal and infant health home visiting program, Representative Maximo Rodriguez.
To the Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 5769, establishing multidisciplinary research centers, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 5770, authorizing the construction of a Bantay-Antayan building, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Bill number 5771, providing assistance to the immediate family of a soldier, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Muslim Affairs.
House Bill number 5772, institutionalizing the payment of zakat by Muslims, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill 5773, establishing the Philippine Business Registry Data Bank, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Muslim Affairs.
House Bill number 5774, mandating the use of recyclable or biodegradable materials, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 5775, providing for the establishment of breast care centers, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 5776, rationalizing the financial regulation of water utilities, Representative Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill 5778, naming the 54-kilometer road in Mangatarem, Pangasinan to Santa Cruz, Zambales as Daang Kalikasan, Representative Batawil.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill 5779, institutionalizing telecommuting in the workplace, Representative Tugna.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 5781, defining gender-based street and public spaces harassment, Representative Villarin.
To the Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill 5782, amending Section 51A of Republic Act 6975, Representative Teves.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 5783, declaring Mount San Isidro in Labrador, Pangasinan as an ecotourism destination, Representative Batawil.
To the Committee on Tourism.
House Bill 5785, providing for tax reliefs in times of calamity, Representative Swansing.
To the Committee on Social Services.
House Bill 5786, creating the Cooperative Development Commission, Representative Gaugan.
To the Committee on Cooperative Development.
House Bill 5787, providing for the transfer of the PNPA and PTI from the Philippine Public Safety College to the PNP, Representative Batawil.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 5788, increasing the bed capacity of Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center, Representative Del Mar.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 5791, converting the San Lorenzo Ruiz Women's Hospital, Representative Sandoval.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 5796, increasing the bed capacity of the Ilocos Sur Training and Regional Medical Center, Representative Singson and Sabillano.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 5800, establishing a TESDA Training and Accreditation Center in San Dionisio, Iloilo, Representative Tupas.
To the Committee on Higher Education and Culture.
House Bill 5801, providing for the telecommunications technology readiness of buildings and structures, Representative Yap Victor.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill 5802, synchronizing the opening of all classes, Representative Duwabit.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture and the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 5804, amending Republic Act 8794, Representative Villapuerte.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill 5805, institutionalizing strengthening public-private partnership, Representative Villapuerte.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
Resolutions. House Resolution 1040, urging the House to inquire to the matter concerning the disgraceful and inhuman condition displayed by Police Chief Inspector Barry Villalobos, Representative Teves.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1041, direct the Committee on Public Order and Safety to inquire into the murder of Attorney Mia Mascareñas Green, Representative Villarin.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1042, congratulating the University of San Carlos Department of Accountancy, Representative Garcia Gwendolyn.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Resolution 1040, commending BMPI UNTB CEO and veteran broadcaster Kuya Daniel Rason, Representative Alejano.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Resolution 1044, declaring the journal of the session dated May 31 as having been read and approved, Representatives Fariñas and Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1045, commending Speaker Pantaleon D. Alvarez, Representative Fariñas and Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1046, urging the DOTR LTO to review and revise the implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act 10913, Representatives Calixto Rubiano.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1047, direct the Congressional Oversight Committee on Overseas Development Assistance to inquire the foreign borrowings negotiated or contracted by the Philippine government, Representative Sansing.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Concurrent Resolution Number 10, providing for the adjournment of the first regular session, Representative Fariñas and Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Joint Resolution 13, convening both houses in joint session for the revocation of Proclamation Number 216, Representative Zarate de Jesus, several others.
To the Committee on Rules.
Messages from the Senate. Messages dated May 30, informing the House the Senate even date approved the Conference Committee report on the Bicameral Conference Committee on the discrediting provisions of Senate Bill 14 and House Bill 5513.
To the Committee on Rules.
Messages dated May 30, informing the House the Senate even date approved Senate Bill numbers 812 and 1449.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated May 30, informing the House the Senate even date approved Senate Bill 1454.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
Message dated May 30, informing the House the Senate even date approved Senate Bill 1281.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated May 30, informing the House the Senate even date approved Senate Bill 1431.
To the Committee on Justice.
Message dated May 30, informing the House the Senate even date passed without amendment House Bill numbers 4848 and 4850 to 4862.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
Committee reports. Report number 277, House Bill number 5792.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
Report numbers 278, 279, and 290 on House Bill numbers 5793, 5794, and 5806.
To the Committee on Rules.
Report number 218, House Bill number 5795.
To the Committee on Rules.
Report numbers 281 to 283, House Bill numbers 5797 to 5799.
To the Committee on Rules.
Report numbers 284 to 289, House Bill numbers 2506 to 2508, 3438, 5235, and 5803.
To the Committee on Rules.
Report number 291, House Bill number 5808.
To the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, in accordance with our rules governing inquiries in aid of legislation, I move that we refer the following House resolutions to the appropriate committees. H.R. 1007, inquiry regarding the proliferation of cyber prostitution in the Philippines, as well as the government's inability to stop cyber prostitution and pornography victimizing children despite the passage of the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009 to the Committee on Information and Communications Technology.
Any objection? The chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I also move that we refer House Resolution 1013, inquiry regarding the current rice supply and stock in the country, to the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
Any objection? The chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the suspension of session for a few minutes.
Session suspended.
may substitute bill to. This was already terminated on susunod week. Now, amendments na lang.
Substitute bill yan, di ba? Mr. Speaker, parliamentary studies, we are done with the sponsorship debate and we shall begin with the bill. So I move that we begin with the bill. Speaker, I move that Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the sponsor. Mr. Speaker.
Session resumed.
Mr. Speaker, I move for an additional reference of business. Could the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as community reports and communications? So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Additional reference of business. Report of the Committee of the Whole of the House of Representatives regarding House Resolution 1050, entitled Resolution Expressing the Full Support of the House of Representatives to President Rodrigo Duterte as it finds no reason to revoke Proclamation Number 216, entitled Declaring a State of Martial Law and Suspending the Privilege of Writ of Habeas Corpus in the Whole of Mindanao, dated 31 May 2017.
To the Committee on Rules.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session for a few minutes. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider Committee Report 229 on House Bill 5636. Could we direct the Secretary General to read the title of said measure?
Any objection? The chair hearing none. The motion is approved.
House Bill number 5636, an act amending sections 5, 6, 22, 24, 25, 31, 33, 34, 79, 84, 86, 99, 106, 107, 108, 109, 116, 148, 149, 155, 171, 232, 237, 238, 264, and 288, creating new sections 148A, 150A, 237A, 264A, and 264B, and 265A, and repealing sections 35 and 62, all under Republic Act number 8424, otherwise known as the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997.
Mr. Speaker, for the information of our colleagues, this measure is a measure certified urgent by the President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Edsel Lagman.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Edsel Lagman is hereby recognized.
for the record, I am saying that the certification made by the President on the necessity of the immediate enactment of House Bill number 5636, the proposed tax reform for acceleration and inclusion, is not compliant with section 25 paragraph 2 of article 6, because there can only be an exception from the 3-day notice rule before third reading if there is an emergency or calamity to justify the immediate passage of a measure. Let me quote partly section 25 paragraph 2 of article 6, except when the President certifies to the necessity of its immediate enactment to meet a public calamity and emergency. Nowhere in the certification of the President is there a mention that there is a calamity or emergency to justify the passage of this measure on third reading without complying with the 3-day notice rule. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader will respond.
Mr. Speaker, we thank the esteemed legislator, the Honorable Edsel Lagman, for bringing up the subject of the urgency of this measure. The House is in receipt of a letter dated May 29, 2017, from the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Rodrigo Roa Duterte, certifying to the urgency of this bill. This is in compliance with Article 4, Section 26, Paragraph 2 of the 1987 Constitution. And the President of the Republic has the larger viewpoint on whether this bill is urgent or not. Our requirements in the House of Representatives are satisfied by his letter stating to the urgency of this measure. With that, Mr. Speaker, the necessary conditions for its urgency regarding the passage of this measure have been met with the receipt of the letter of the President certifying to its urgency.
The Majority Leader has mentioned the letter or a letter. To whom is the letter addressed?
Mr. Speaker, it is addressed to the House Speaker, Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez, House of Representatives, Batasan Hills, Quezon City.
Will the Majority Leader read the pertinent portion of the letter that would impress urgency on the proposed measure?
I read, pursuant to the provisions of Article 6, Section 26, Paragraph 2 of the 1987 Constitution, I hereby certify to the necessity of the immediate enactment of House Bill number 5636, the proposed Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion Act, so entitled as set forth in the letter. Mr. Speaker.
After having heard the pertinent portion of the letter addressed to Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez from the President of the Republic of the Philippines, the Chair sustains the urgency of the proposed measure.
Mr. Speaker,
Congressman Lagman is recognized.
for the guidance of the members of the House, while it is true that the President has the authority to certify on the urgency of the passage of a measure, but that certification should be able to comply with the requirement of the Constitution that the urgency is to meet a public calamity or emergency. Nothing in the certification as read by the majority leader is there any mention of the existence of a public calamity or emergency. With that, Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Mr. Speaker, the parliamentary status is that we have terminated the period of sponsorship and debate. For the continuing sponsorship of this motion, I move that we recognize the Honorable Chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means, the Honorable Dakila Carlo Cua.
The Chair hearing sustained the position of the Majority Leader. The motion of the Majority Leader that we recognize the sponsor is in order. Any objection to the motion that we proceed with the sponsorship of the proposed measure? There being none, motion is approved. The Honorable Carlo Dakila Cua is hereby recognized to proceed with his sponsorship speech.
Mr. Speaker, we have closed the period of sponsorship and debate. I move now that we open the period of amendments.
Any objection? The Chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee amendments, I move that we close the period of committee amendments.
Any
So moved.
objection? The Chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, earlier we have distributed to all members copies of the substitute bill to House Bill 5636. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Section 104 of our rules, I move to amend by substitution the entire bill as contained in Committee Report 229 with the contents of the substitute bill earlier distributed to all members. I so move.
Any objection? The Chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of individual amendments.
Any objection? The Chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no other individual amendments, I move that we close the period of individual amendments.
Any objection?
Mr. Speaker.
The Chair hearing
excuse me.
none, the motion is approved.
Excuse me, Mr. Speaker. I would like to propose some amendments in the bill.
Majority Leader will respond.
Mr. Speaker, I ask for a few minutes suspension.
Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we thank the gentleman from Baguio for his understanding. We move for the closure of the period of amendments on this measure. So move, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Any objection? The chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move for approval on second reading of House Bill 5636 as amended by substitution. So moved, Mr. Speaker, Your
Any
Honor.
objection? The chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, House Bill number 5636, having been certified urgent, I move that we vote for approval on third reading and direct the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
Any objection? The chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
House Bill number 5636, an act amending sections 5, 6, 22, 24, 25, 31, 33, 34, 79, 84, 86, 99, 106, 107, 108, 109, 116, 148, 149, 155, 171, 232, 237, 238, 264, and 288, creating new sections 148A, 150A, 237A, 264A, 264B, and 265A, and repealing sections 35 and 62, all under Public Act number 8424, otherwise known as the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997. Roll call of members, consideration of House Bill number 5636. Abad? Abaya? Abayon? Abillanosa? Abu? Abueg? Acharon? Akop? Acosta? Acosta Alba? Adjong? Advincula? Agaraw? Agabaw? Aglipay Bilyar? Albano? Alcala? Alejano? Almario? Almonte? Alonte? Alvarez Franz? Alvarez Mercedes? Alvarez Pantaleon? Amante? Amatong? Andaya? Angara Castillo? Antonino? Antonio? Aragones? Arbizon? Arcillas? Arenas? Atienza? Aumentado? Bagaw? Bagaching? Bagilat? Banal? Barbers? Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Bilaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertis, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilia, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maravida, Brosas, Bulot Bigtang, Gagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Kanama, Kari, Kasilaw, Castelo, Caso France,
Mr. Speaker, I will explain my vote later.
Katamko, Cayetano, Celeste, Serafica, Cirilles, Chavez, Chupeco, Ko, Kuwango, Culliantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cosalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Delipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus,
I vote no and I reserve my right to explain my vote later.
De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Rosario, De Loso Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit, Durano, D, Elago,
I vote no to House Bill 5636 and I reserve my right to explain my vote later. No.
Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floyrendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Ventebelia, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Gary Richard, Gary Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Heron, Goana Cristina, Gomart, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gulyas, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Alusos, Javier, Ko, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman,
Mr. Speaker, I abstain and I will explain in writing my abstention.
Do you want to explain now or after the result of the voting, Congressman Lagman?
I said I will submit in writing.
Okay. Noted.
Lanete. Laugan. Lasatin. Liachon. Lee. Lim Kay Chong. Lubrigat. Lopez Benhur. Lopez Carlo. Lopez Manuel. Loyola. Macapagal Arroyo. Maceda. Madrona. Malapitan. Manalo. Mangawang. Mangutudato Suharto. Mangutudato Sajid. Marcoleta. Marcos. Marino. Marquez. Martinez. Matugas. Miliana. Mending. Mendoza. Mercado. Mirasol. Montoro. Nava. Nieto. Noel. Nograles Jericho. Nograles Carlo. Nolasco. Nunez Maleñaon. Waminal. Ocampo. Olivares. Ong Edwin. Ong Henry. Ortega Pablo. Ortega Vini. Pacquiao. Paduano. Palma. Pancho. Panganiban. Panotes. Papandayan. Pichay. Pimentel. Pineda. Plaza. Primicia Sagabas. Kimbo. Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roa Puno, Robes, Rocamora,
I would like to reserve the submission of my explanation of my affirmative vote.
Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque Ari, Roque Rayo, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sevillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shirney, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tino,
Speaker, I vote no and reserve my right to explain my vote later.
Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Turabi Nataman, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Beretta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Samora Mar Carmen, Samora Ronaldo, Sarate,
Mr. Speaker, I vote no and I reserve my right to explain my vote.
Subiri. Second call, consideration of House Bill number 5636. Abad, Abaya, Adjong, Alcala, Alejano, Alonte, Andaya, Arcillas, Aumentado, Bagao, Bagilat, Biason, Casilaw, Chavez, Cortuna, Quaresma, Dalog, Enverga, Erice, Eusebio, Feriol, Floyrendo, Fortun, Garisharon, Gonzales, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Lee, Bacapagal Arroyo, Marcoleta, Marcos, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Montoro, Ong Henry, Revilla, Roman, Romero, Salimbangon, Sevillano, Silverio, Suarez, Tancherny, Chanco, Treñas, Velarde, Veloso, Villapuerte, Villarasa Suarez, Yap Victor, Zamora Ronaldo.
Abstention 1. With 246 affirmative votes, 9 negative votes, and 1 abstention, House Bill number 5636 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader. The Chair recognizes Congresswoman Franz Castro to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ginoong Speaker, bumoto po ang representasyong ito ng no sa House Bill 5636 o Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion o TRAIN dahil ito ay anti-poor. Ililinaw ko na pabor ako sa pagpapababa ng personal income tax para sa mga manggagawa at empleyado sa publiko at pribadong sektor. Issue ito ng hustisya. Ako mismo ay nagmula sa rank and file sa sektor ng edukasyon at mapapatunayan ko ng aming hanay pati na rin ang counterparts namin sa pribadong paaralan, 10 ng uring manggagawa sa ibang industriya ay hindi lang overworked and underpaid, overtax pa. Kaya matagal nang sigaw na ang mababang income tax na madadagdag sa kanilang take-home pay para naman para makayanan nila ang tinatawag nating disenteng buhay para sa kanila at sa kanilang pamilya. Subalit ang panukalang batas na ipinasa natin sa ngayon ay higit pa sa bigay bawi, Mr. Speaker. Ang House Bill 5636 na ito ay isang trend na raragasa sa masang Pilipino, lalo na sa mga mahihirap nating kababayan. Indirect taxes o buwis na ipinapasa rin sa mga consumer, particular ang bagong excise taxes sa produktong petrolyo at mas pinalawak na VAT ay sasagasa sa minimum wage earners, sa mga nasa informal sector, mga walang trabaho o pinagkakakitaan, at ang mga subsistence poor na sa forma ng mas mataas na presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin at serbisyo. Sa datos mismo ng DOF, nasasabing dahil sa VAT pa lang, tatapyasan ng hanggang 1,189 ang take-home pay ng subsistence poor at 13,652 pesos para sa middle class. At sa presyo ng pagkain ay tataas ng 1.6% at ang overall inflation rate ay tataas ng 1.5 percentage point na maaring madoble to 3.3%. Sa pagpapasa ng train, sasagasa sa mamamayan ang pamatay na VAT excise tax combo. Ang lahat ng produktong petrolyo ay papatawan ng excise tax bukod pa sa kasalukuyang VAT. Ang LPG, diesel at kerosene halimbawa na ginagamit ng karaniwang pamilya at ngayon walang tax ay papatawan muna ng 3 piso kada litro. Pagkatapos ay bubuwisan pa ng dagdag na 12% VAT. Magiging 6 na piso excise tax sa mga ito pagdating ng 2020. At di matapos dito ang disgrasya para sa sambayanan dahil magkakaroon ng domino effect na pagtaas ng presyo ng lahat ng mga bilihin at serbisyong gumagamit ng petroleum products. Mariin ko ring tinututulan ang pagtali ng agarang income tax relief sa kondisyong ilusot ang dagdag na papasaning buwis ng mamamayang Pilipino. Sa halip na lubusang ibigay ang economic relief at sagutin ang makatwirang demand para sa tax justice, lalo pang inilulubog ang mamamayan sa kahirapan at palalakihin pa ang agwat sa pagitan ng mga may hirap at ng mayayaman. Inuulit ko, Ginoong Speaker, ang boto ko laban sa panukalang ito. Let our records reflect the resounding dissent of teachers, low and middle income earners, most especially the Filipino poor for this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we move for the recognition of the Honorable Emmy De Jesus for her explanation of her vote. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Congresswoman Amy De Jesus is hereby recognized to explain her vote. You have 3 minutes.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, actually, nito pong dinistribute ang train briefer na ngayon lamang na-receive ng representasyong ito. Lalo kung nakita ang mga batayan kung bakit no ang vote ko. Mr. Speaker, sa ngalan po ng Gabriela Women's Party, kami ay bumoboto ng no dahil malinaw na palamuti lamang ang panukalang pagpapababa ng income tax para ipatupad ang pagpapalawig ng saklaw ng expanded value-added tax at itaas ang excise tax sa langis at sugar-sweetened beverages. 2 punto lamang po ito, Mr. Speaker, pero nung mahawakan ko nga po itong briefer, ang daming mga puntong lalong nagpalinaw. Tila nakakatakam na icing ang income tax restructuring sa ibabaw ng patong-patong na dagdag pasanin sa mga mamamayan kung saan naroroon ang maraming kababaihang mahihirap din na patuloy na sinasalanta ng sunod-sunod na pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin at serbisyo. Kaaanunsyo nga lang ng mga kumpanya ng langis ng panibagong round ng oil price hike at kung idadagdag mo pa yung excise tax sa langis, katulad ng sinabi ko nung ako'y nag-interpolate, ginagawang katwiran ito kahit ng mga negosyanteng maliliit para itaas ang presyo ng mga bilihin at kitang-kita ang epekto nito sa mas maraming consumer. Dagdag pa dito, nakakapanlinlang talaga ang paggamit ng salitang reform. Ang naturang salitang yan sa panukalang batas ay para bang maghahatid ng pangmatagalang ginhawa sa buhay ng marami. Pero sa aktwal, kakainin lang ang sinasabing dagdag na take-home pay ng mga manggagawa, bunga ng income tax restructuring, sa bugkos-bugkos na taas ng presyo ng mahabang listahan ng bilihin at serbisyo. Mr. Speaker, malinaw din sa aking interpelasyon at galing mismo sa sponsor ng panukalang batas na nagpapasasa ang mga korporasyon, lalo na yung nasa loob ng Special Economic Zone sa tax breaks at iba pang incentives. At kung ikokontrapelo ito sa pagtutulak naman ng Kongreso ng House Bill 5636 para higit na buwisan ang gipit ng mamamayan, nananatiling malaki ang foregone revenues ng gobyerno dahil iwas buwis ang mga korporasyon na malalaki lalo na sa eco-zones, habang ang kalagayan sa loob ng eco-zones, barat ang sahod ng manggagawa, malaganap ang kontraktualisasyon, mahigpit ang pagsupil sa karapatang mag-organisa, at madalas ang aksidente sa loob ng mga pagawaan. Bakit kailangan bigyan ng tax breaks ang mga antimanggagawang korporasyong ito? Habang ang ordinaryong mamamayan pa ang dadagdagan ng pasaning buwis. Naninindigan po ang representasyong ito sa ngalan ng Gabriela Women's Party na walang pangmatagalang ginhawang ihahatid ang House Bill 5636. Sa aktwal, tinitiyak lang nito na mas malaki ang pondong pambayad utang ng gobyerno, alinsunod na rin sa balangkas ng International Monetary Fund na broad-based tax reform. Mr. Speaker, muli po, malinaw ang tindig ng Gabriela Women's Party. No to House Bill 5636. Maraming salamat.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Sarah Jane Elago for her chance to explain her vote. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Sarah Jane Ilago is hereby recognized to explain her vote. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kabataan Party List votes no to House Bill 5636, even as we are calling for a progressive tax reform. We believe that the current legislative proposal remains biased for the rich and burdens the poor. Lowering of income taxes is held hostage in the proposed tax reform as it is tangled to adding more excise taxes on fuel and sugars within beverages, increasing remittance charges, removal of tax exemptions on cooperatives, among others. With these proposed tax reforms, wealthy families will be paying less income taxes and other taxes, while the poor majority will face higher taxes on goods and services amid their already very low incomes and insecure livelihoods, struggling to make ends meet. Papasanin ng taong bayan ang bigat ng mga bagong buwis, samantalang napakalaki pa ng maaaring makolekta kung aayusin lamang ng BIR at ng BOC ang kanilang trabaho. Tax administration reforms in the Bureau of Internal Revenue and Bureau of Customs are sorely needed. The government tax efficiency is among the lowest in the region, meaning that it is not collecting as much as it should at current tax rates. Sa bagong sistema na ating panukala ngayon, ano ang assurance ng ating taong bayan na yan talaga ay mapupunta sa serbisyo na kanilang pinakakailangan? The government's tax effort or total tax revenue as a share of gross domestic product is around 12.4%, which is slightly higher than that of Indonesia, which is pegged at 11.8%, but much lower than in Vietnam, which has 24.3%. And the average for East Asia and the Pacific is at 16.3%. This is despite the Philippines' VAT at 12%, corporate income tax at 30%, and highest personal income tax rate at 32%, being mostly higher than in these countries in the Asia and the Pacific. This just goes to show that efficient tax collection should be top priority, and there is no need to raise taxes or introduce new ones. This is also an indicator of how much corruption has to be resolved in the BIR and the BOC. Thus, we have urged Congress to reject the proposed tax hikes and instead give utmost priority to ensuring efficient tax administration and collection and battling graft and corruption. The Duterte administration should likewise focus its efforts on more efficient and aggressive tax collection on the wealthy and big corporations. Lahat ng koleksyon ay titiyakin nating mapupunta sa kung saan ito pinakakailangan, pampubliko na utilities at mga serbisyong panlipunan. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Sandy Ocampo for her explanation.
The Honorable Sandy Ocampo is recognized to explain her vote. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was also a sponsor of the tax reform bill because my proposal for the decrease in the inheritance tax was really an advocacy of mine. Knowing from my own experience the difficulty of many families not being able to pay the inheritance tax and the compounded problems that ensued from this inability to pay. Well, Mr. Speaker, I did not know that, through the course of the deliberations, my proposed measure was incorporated into the total tax reform proposal, which we have approved this afternoon. I do realize that the government needs funds to do the infrastructure program that it needs to propel our countryside and to improve the facilities for major development to come in, businesses to thrive, and jobs to be created. But, Mr. Speaker, I was not agreeable to all the provisions of the bill, and I say no to the increase or the additional excise tax on fuel products, because I know how difficult it will be for the lowly people. Transportation costs will go up, inter-island shipping costs will go up, the price of goods will go up, the inability of small producers to bring their products to the market will really affect the profitability of, say, small farmers or small manufacturers. And much as I regret, Mr. Speaker, the hard work that was put in by the Committee on Ways and Means and the capable leadership of our distinguished chairman, Congressman Dax Kua, on the basis of principle. And it's not because I do not believe in the total merits of the law that we just approved, but because there are specific provisions that I did not agree to. So on that basis, Mr. Speaker, I voted no. Also because I knew that even without my vote, this measure would gain the approval of this august chamber. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, next to explain his vote, I move that we recognize the Honorable Rav Rocamora.
The Honorable Rocamora is recognized to explain his vote. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I voted yes to HB 5636. I was one of the early authors of this measure, as I believe that this is really needed to move our economy forward. A tax measure is never easy. That is why I admire the House leadership in pushing this very difficult measure, no matter how unpopular this may be. I also realize that no tax measure is really perfect. It is always subject to negotiations and compromises given the competing interests of different stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, I would have actually wanted to see a lowering of the VAT rate from 12 to 10% and the removal of all exemptions from the value-added tax. That an exemption from VAT will exempt a particular sector from taxation is actually illusory. An exemption from the value-added tax simply means the sector will still pay the input VAT from all the inputs it used in creating the product, but will not be able to deduct his input VAT from his output VAT. In a way, the burden is quickly passed on to the helpless consumer, which further increases the price of the good. VAT should have been used to evolve a more efficient tax system. With still so many exemptions, the leakages will still be there. The potential tax base is yet to be realized. The fuel tax is another unpopular measure, but I share the opinion that the car owners, the rich ones, will bear the burden more. Regarding the increase in prices of goods, it is also clear that there are other factors that goes into this increase in prices of goods, not just the increase of fuel prices. I also believe that we must use market-based mechanisms to protect the environment. There was a time when fuel prices were high, and that was the time EDSA's traffic became light. Let us ensure, though, that DSWD is fully up to task in implementing the unconditional cash transfer to cushion the impact of the price increases, if there will be, or for our marginalized sectors. For the sugar tax, I hope what comes out of the BICAM report of this measure is simply a higher tax on high fructose corn syrup, as putting a tax differential between an imported and local product can be subject to a WTO dispute. Mr. Speaker, despite what I mentioned, let me reiterate that I believe that this is an important measure that needs our support. My prayer is that my inputs will be used in the final crafting of the bill during the bicameral conference committee proceedings. I vote yes, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Tonchi Tinio for his explanation.
The Honorable Antonio Tino is recognized to explain his vote. You have 3 minutes.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Bumoto po ako ng no sa tax reform package ng Administrasyong Duterte. Mr. Speaker, kasama ako sa mga unang inilistang co-author ng bill na ito. At ang dahilan ay ang aming panukala para sa pagbaba ng income tax ay pinaloob sa paketing ito. No? Matagal na po nating inilalaban na usapin ng hustisya ang kagyat na pagbaba na ng income tax, lalo na ng mga fixed income earners. No? Yung mga, lalo na yung mga Pilipinong may trabaho na may sweldong regular na mababa hanggang katamtaman ang kita. Kung ito lang ang nilalaman ng panukalang batas, ay boboto ako ng yes. Dahil kung napasa po ito, malinaw po na malaki ang magiging pakinabang ng ating mga kababayang sumusweldo. No? Kung ikaw po ay kumikita ng 20,000 naman, halimbawa, public school teacher, mararamdaman mo po ang mas malaking take-home pay na sabihin natin, mga 2,000 naman. So, substantial po ang magiging pakinabang nyo rito. No? Kaya katulad ng sinabi ko, kung ito lang pinag-uusapan natin, boboto po ako ng yes. Sa kasamaang palad, ang desisyon po ng administrasyong ito ay ipakete ang pagwawasto ng ating income tax sa pagpataw ng mga bago at napakabigat na buwis, lalo na mabigat para sa mga maralita. Ito na nga, yung excise tax sa mga produktong petrolyo, lalo na sa diesel, kerosene at LPG. At lalong mabigat din ay yung pagpataw ng VAT sa mga produkto at serbisyo na kasalukuyay walang VAT. No? Mr. Speaker, Katulad ng sinabi natin kanina, makikinabang po yung regular na sumusweldo, yung mga and middle income earners, no? Kaya kung tumaas man ang presyo ng mga bilihin, ng mga produkto at serbisyo, meron silang mas malaking take-home pay na pagkukunan ng pagbayad sa taas. Pero paano po ang mga kababayan natin, ang mayorya ng mga Pilipino na walang trabaho, walang regular na sweldo, sila po ang pinakamabigat na pipigain ng buwis na ito. Kaya po, hindi natin matatanggap. No? Malinaw po, dalawang tanong lang po, sa bawat tax measure, ang kailangang sagutin natin. Una, galing kanino ang buwis? Sinabi na natin na ang pinakamabigat na mapipiga rito ay ang ating mga maralitang kababayan. Ang susunod na tanong, para kanino ang buwis na ito? No? Paulit-ulit na sinasabi ng administrasyon, kailangan daw ito para sa infrastructure. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng infrastructure na yan, Mr. Speaker? Bakit pipigain ang mga kababayan natin, lalo na ang mga maralita? Pag sinabing infrastructure, ang ibig sabihin niyan, infrastructure para sa mga export processing zone, para sa mga minahan, para sa mga asyenda, sa mga agribusiness ventures, para sa turismo. At sino ang makikinabang dito? Ang pangunahing makikinabang dito ay ang mga dayuhang investor at ang kanilang mga kasosyo. Sa madaling sabi, Mr. Speaker, ang buwis na ito ay manggagaling sa mahirap at pangunahing pakikinabangan ng mayaman. Kaya po, hindi natin matatanggap at bumoto tayo ng no.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that you recognize the Honorable Carlos Zarate for his explanation.
The Honorable Carlos Zarate is hereby recognized to explain his vote. You have 3 minutes.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Speaker. Ginoong Speaker, no ang boto ng representasyong ito sa House Bill number 5636 dahil hindi ito makamamamayan. Sa halip na pag-aanin ang pasaning buwis, lalo nitong pinabibigat ang pasanin ng ordinaryong mamamayan. Nangako si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na pagagaanin ang pasaning income tax ng ating mga mamamayan. Pero hindi ito ang kabuuang tunguhin ng House Bill number 5636. Malayo ang House Bill number 5636 sa pangako ni Pangulong Duterte. Malaki ang kaibahan nito, Mr. Speaker, sa House Bill number 333 na unang isinumite ng bayan muna. Hindi pabor, bagkos, dagdag na pahirap sa mahihirap at nakararaming mamamayan ang panukalang batas na ito na House Bill number 5636. Kahit na itinaas sa 250,000 kada taon ang exempted sa income tax, tinanggal naman ang dating personal tax deduction at deduction sa medical at health insurance. Bubuwisan na rin ang friends benefits ng mga manggagawa. Mawawalan di umano ang gobyerno ng revenues na hanggang 152 billion sa 2019 dahil sa binagong income tax structure. Pero kikita naman ang gobyerno ng halos 320 billion sa complementary tax reforms, kagaya ng excise tax at ang pag-alis ng VAT exemptions ng pangunahing papasanin ito ng ordinaryong mamamayan, lalo na ang mahihirap. Ginoong Speaker, babawasan ang buwis ng pinakamayamang mamamayan ng 178.3 billion sa pagbawas sa personal at corporate income taxes, estate and donor taxes at capital income taxes. Subalit, tataas ang buwis, bayarin at pangunahing bilihin para sa mas maraming mamamayan sa ipapataw na excise taxes sa produktong petrolyo, lalong-lalo na sa LPG, diesel at gas. At magkaganon din sa excise taxes sa sugar-sweetened beverages at sa pagtanggal sa VAT exemption sa murang pabahay at upa sa bahay na bababa sa 10,000 pesos. According to the Department of Finance, without tax reform, the people will likely remain poor. With regressive taxation, we say, Mr. Speaker, which mainly characterize the tax reforms in House Bill number 5636, the people will be poorer and burdened further. Panalo ang malalaking kumpanya at ang mga pinakamayaman sa House Bill number 5636. Pero talo ang ordinaryo at mahihirap na mamamayan, Ginoong Speaker. Kaya hindi dapat ipinapasa ng Kongreso ang ganitong batas, ang House Bill number 5636. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Gabriel Bordado for his explanation. Gabriel Bordado, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Gabriel Bordado is hereby recognized to explain his vote. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, given the significance of House Bill 5636, I intently listened during the period of interpellation and debate to the pronouncements made by my colleagues, particularly the ones propounded by my kahimanwa, the Honorable Congressman Edsel Agman of Albay. Mr. Speaker, I do welcome the cuts and the exemptions in income taxes for employees from both the private and public sectors. I also appreciate the initiative to exempt the cooperatives from value-added taxes. Mr. Speaker, I am, however, disturbed by the proposed excise taxes on petroleum products and their negative impact on the economically disadvantaged and marginalized sectors of the country, and that these excise taxes will eventually wipe out whatever gains we will get from the tax cuts and exemptions. In fact, Mr. Speaker, just a few minutes ago, I conferred with DOF Undersecretary Chua, and I was underscoring the fact that we need to come up with the mechanisms and systems, Mr. Speaker, to protect our hapless brothers and sisters, those who belong to the margins of society. But nonetheless, Mr. Speaker, I understand that House Bill 5636, if passed into law, Mr. Speaker, would be the first major overhaul in our tax system after more than 2 or 3 decades, Mr. Speaker. So, despite my misgivings, despite my earlier pronouncements, Mr. Speaker, I voted yes. But let me reiterate, we have to come up with the mechanisms and systems to protect the vulnerable sectors of our community. We have to come up with systems and mechanisms, Mr. Speaker, to address the so-called tax gaps. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, may we recognize the Honorable Anthony Bravo for his explanation. But before that, Mr. Speaker, may we greet his guests in the gallery. They are from the cooperative sector, federations, unions, and councils. They're the Philippine Cooperative Center, Tagalog Cooperative Development Center, Federation of People's Sustainable Development Cooperative, National Confederation of Cooperative, League of Cooperative Development Officers of the Philippines, National Market Vendors Confederation Cooperatives, National Capital Region League, Philippine Federation of Teachers and Employees Cooperative, Cooperative Union of Taguig and Pateros, Cooperative Union of Marikina City Federation of Cooperatives, Parañaque Federation of Cooperatives, San Dionisio Credit Cooperative, Novaliches Development Cooperative, Holy Cross Savings and Credit Cooperative, Valenzuela Development Cooperative, Central Market Development Cooperative, Barangka Credit Cooperative, ACDI Multipurpose Cooperative, Simbayanan ni Maria Multipurpose Cooperative, Most Holy Rosary Multipurpose Cooperative, Sacred Heart Development Cooperative, PCLEDO Batangas Sibap Multipurpose Cooperative, Malalim Multipurpose Cooperative, ZO Credit Cooperative, Taisan Senior Citizens Multipurpose Cooperative, Taisan Multipurpose Cooperative, Tilambo Multipurpose Cooperative, Pinagbayanan Multipurpose Cooperative, Cooperative Union of Batangas, and the Sultan Kudarat Cooperative Development Council.
Please rise to be recognized. We welcome you to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Again, Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Anthony Bravo to proceed.
The Honorable Anthony Bravo is hereby recognized to explain his vote. You have 30 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Floor Leader. To our distinguished colleagues, to the cooperative leaders in this gallery, to the 14 million Filipino members of cooperative in the entire country, good afternoon. Why I voted yes to the House Bill 5636. As provided for in the provisions of House Bill 5636 under Section 21, Section 109 of NIRC 1997, which provides transaction that is exempted from value-added tax, specifically number 1, letters L, M, and N, and Section 22, 116 of the same NIRC 1997 as being retained in this House Bill as an effect that cooperatives duly registered with CDA shall continue to enjoy VAT exemption. Along that line, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, on behalf of the 14 million cooperative members in this country, I would like to convey our sincerest appreciation and thanks to the leadership led by the Speaker, Honorable Pantaleon Bebot Alvarez, for listening and responding affirmatively to the appeal of the sector for the retention of the VAT exemption in favor of the cooperative in the entire country. Further, Mr. Speaker, I would like also to thank the Committee on Ways and Means for the same response, to the party list coalition, and the 167 members of this august chamber who have thrown their full support to the cooperative sector. Likewise, Mr. Speaker, our sincerest appreciation to the Department of Finance, headed by Secretary Dominguez, for the aforementioned tax privileges enjoyed by the cooperative will be retained as stated in this or provided in the House Bill 5636. Along this line, Mr. Speaker, we commit to continue to pursue to deliver quality services to our people and community and be a strong partner of the government and this administration in the realization of genuine inclusive growth. Mabuhay po ang mga miyembro ng 17th Congress. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Kayo po ang bayani ng kooperatiba. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, before we proceed, may we greet the guests of the gentleman from Agri Party List, the Honorable Orestes T. Salon. They are Ernali Arellano and Oliver Frias from Agri Party List Region 11 Area Coordinators.
Please rise. We welcome you to the House of Representatives.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Arlene Brosas for her explanation.
The Honorable Arlene Brosas is hereby recognized to explain her vote.
Mr.
You have
Speaker,
3 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, it's not an explanation of vote, but this representation wants to submit my explanation of no vote in writing.
The manifestation of the Honorable Brosas is noted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Arnolfo Teves for his explanation.
The Honorable Arnie Teves is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I voted no because as I have always said, para sa akin, dapat mas kolektahan yung mga hindi nagbabayad ng buwis sa BIR at sa customs kaysa sa kolektahan ng dagdag na buwis yung taong bayan. Yun lang. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader. Session suspended. Session resumed.
Mr. Speaker, I move for an additional reference of business.
Any objection? The chair hearing none. The motion is approved.
Additional reference of business, bills on first reading, House Bill 5807, declaring the Balanga Wetland and Nature Park in Barangay Tortuga, City of Balanga as a responsible community-based ecotourism zone. Representative Garcia.
To the
Jose.
Committee on Tourism.
House Bill number 5809, establishing a national policy on ease of doing business. Representative Subiri.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill 5810, establishing telehealth centers in every hospital in the country. Representative Lanete.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 5812, regulating the practice of speech language pathology in the Philippines. Representative Tanangelina.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill 5813, further amending the franchise granted to Air Philippines Corporation. Representative Alvarez, Parillas, and Suarez.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchise.
House Bill 5814, further amending the franchise granted to Asian Spirit Inc. Representatives Alvarez, Parillas, and Suarez.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchise.
House Bill 5815, amending Republic Act number 7151, Representatives Alvarez, Parillas, and Suarez.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill 5816, further amending Presidential Decree number 1590, Representatives Alvarez, Parillas, and Suarez.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill 5817, amending Republic Act number 9517, Representatives Alvarez, Parillas, and Suarez.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
Committee reports, report number 292 on House Bill number 691.
To the Committee on Rules.
Report number 293 on House Bill number 5811.
To the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend session for a few minutes.
Session suspended.
Speaker.
Naalala ko pa yun eh. Si time ako, speaker pa nga. Tapos,
ko parang pero why? Some of them quite pretending to be young. Pretending to be young. It's quite sick. Like defensor. Si Spargers. Si Ricky. Si G. Pati si Woods sabi na rin. Nasasama na rin. Boots Pitsay! Alam mo, tinanong ko rito eh. Confidential eh ako. Ako yung bet mo, pare ko siya. Dahil sa yung pisan mo eh, away pilik mo ano.
Hindi, silabit. O, the speaker thought that kasi kapamilya ko mag-away tayo. Sabi ko, on the contrary, kami magkasama.
Nagsama-sama.
Ano ba po?
Guwapo.
Sino mas matanda?
Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill number 5648 and Senate Bill number 1449, providing for a 5-year validity of the driver's license. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with the rules of the House, I move that we ratify said Bicameral Conference Committee report.
Any objection? The chair, hearing none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, in accordance with the rules of the House, I move that we authorize all committees to conduct meetings or public hearings, if deemed necessary, during the adjournment sine die of the House from June 3, 2017 to July 23, 2017. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair, hearing none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the approval of Journal number 6 of May 30, 2017. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair, hearing none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to paragraph 7, section 138, rule 8 of the House, I move that we recognize the chairman of the Committee of the Whole to render a report on the action of the Committee of the Whole to the House. I move for the recognition of the Honorable Majority Leader, Rodolfo Castro Fariñas. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The chairman of the House of the Committee of the Whole, the Majority Leader, Rodolfo Castro Fariñas, is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have the honor to make a report of the Committee of the Whole House meeting that was conducted this morning in relation to the report of the President. As already established the other day, the report of the President was referred to the committee, and the committee convened promptly at 9 o'clock a.m. this morning. And with 135 members present, we proceeded with the consideration of the report of the President. And in the preliminary remarks of the chairman, he laid down the basis for the purpose of the Committee of the Whole, which was the receipt of proclamation number 216, issued on May 23, 2017, by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, declaring a state of martial law and suspending the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in the whole of Mindanao. The committee went on to hear the briefing conducted by the Executive Department, led by no other than the Executive Secretary, Medial Dea. In attendance, Mr. Speaker, were the Secretary of Defense, Delphine Lorenzana, and the Vice Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Mison, the officer in charge of the Department of Interior and Local Government, Undersecretary Catalino Cuy, and the Chief of the Philippine National Police, Rolando De La Rosa, the Secretaries of Energy, Alfonso Cusi, the Secretary of Tourism, Wanda Teo, Secretary of Justice, Vitaliano Aguirre, the National Security Advisor, Hermogenes Esperon Jr., the Commissioner from the Commission on Human Rights was also present. Secretary Tagiwalo of the DSWD was likewise present, as well as the Secretary of Health, Pauline Obial. In the course of the meeting that lasted from 9 in the morning to 12 noon, only to break for 1 hour for lunch, the meeting was resumed at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and lasted until 3:57 in the afternoon. In the course of the interpellations, 27 members of the House were given the chance to interpellate with a minimum of 5 minutes per member, and they were able to ask all the questions they wanted to hear from the Executive Department. But in the course of the briefing of the Secretary of National Defense, he requested that the briefing be conducted in executive session, and the chair declared an executive session which was objected to by certain members. However, in a division of the House, the Committee of the Whole House voted that it shall be conducted in executive meeting. During the meeting, all questions were asked by respective members about the necessity, about the factual issues, which we could not reveal here because these were all covered under our rule and executive session. The Honorable Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez addressed the body and before the executive session and underscored the urgency to discuss and decide the appropriate action to be taken on the report of President Rodrigo Duterte and the declaration of martial law in Mindanao. He stated that terror acts similar to the violence occurring in Mindanao threaten national security and the well-being of the people. He added that a decisive and strategic legislative action to address the situation will, open quotation marks, in his words, determine the trajectory of our response to the grave threats, close quotation marks, of terror groups and rebel groups, including the Maote group. He encouraged the members to view martial law as enshrined in the 1987 Constitution, which provides sufficient safeguards against the abuses by agents of the state and not exclusively by perspectives from the past. The Speaker further stated that the situation is far more complex, requiring more than a mere military response, and urged the body to address the historical, social, economic, and political roots of the problem. He asked the members to extend to the President, the people of Mindanao and Marawi City, and the people of the Philippines the support of the House of Representatives on this matter. During the course of the Committee of the Whole meeting, the Honorable Lagman moved that all the resource persons pursuant to our rules be placed under oath, and all the resource persons testified under oath. Executive Secretary Medjaldea briefed the body on the facts and circumstances which led to the declaration of martial law in Mindanao. He stated that even before President Duterte assumed office, there already existed a complex history of lawless violence and high crimes perpetrated by private armies, local warriors, rebels, criminal syndicates, terrorist groups, and religious extremists. He mentioned Proclamation number 55, which ensued when the actions of the Abu Sayyaf in August 2016 and the bombing of Davao City last September 2016. He emphasized that martial law was declared in the interest of public order and public safety as members of the Maote group started to perpetrate rebellious and terrorist acts such as hostage-taking, cutting lines of transportation, displaying Daesh, Arabic acronym referring to the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, flags in vehicles and buildings. Deputy Secretary, Executive Secretary for Legal Affairs, Menardo Guevara, highlighted the important portions of the report of the President to underscore the need to declare martial law in Mindanao. He also read in its entirety the contents of General Order Number 1, implementing Proclamation Number 216, signed on May 30, 2017. The highlights of General Order Number 1, Mr. Speaker, is the President ordering all elements of the Armed Forces of the Philippines to abide and follow the Constitution. The President reiterated in his order that civilian authority is still supreme and that all constitutional rights of the people are protected even under the martial law order of the President. In the session, the AFP presented the highlights of the threat situation update in Mindanao based on the Armed Forces of the Philippines intelligence reports and was interpolated, as already stated, by 27 members. After the period of interpellation, the committee terminated its executive session and resumed its regular meeting. The Honorable Minority Leader Danilo Suarez moved and duly seconded to adopt a resolution expressing the support of the House of Representatives to President Rodrigo Roa Duterte as it finds no reason to revoke Proclamation Number 216. Upon objection by Representative Lagman, duly seconded by Representative Tinio, the House was divided. The motion of the Minority Leader for the adoption of the resolution was approved by majority of the members of the Committee on the Whole. The Chair constituted a Committee on Style composed of Representatives Defensor, Mercado, and De Vera to draft the resolution. The committee submitted its resolution, which was adopted by the Committee of the Whole, after which it adjourned at 3:57 in the afternoon. Now, therefore, Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Resolution number 1050, and I request the Speaker that he directs the Secretary General to read the title of the resolution.
Any objection? There being none, the motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of House Resolution number 1050.
House Resolution number 1050. Resolution expressing the full support of the House of Representatives to President Rodrigo Duterte as it finds no reason to revoke Proclamation number 216 entitled Declaring a State of Martial Law and Suspending the Privilege of the Writ of Habeas Corpus in the whole of Mindanao.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the explanation earlier made by this representation as to the events that transpired in the Committee of the Whole House meeting be considered as the sponsorship speech.
Any objection to the motion? The Chair hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve House Resolution number 1050.
Objection.
Any objection?
Objection, Mr. Speaker.
What's the point of the objection?
Mr. Speaker, I object to the motion, Mr. Speaker. And may I be allowed to explain my objection?
You have 3 minutes.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ang requirement po ng konstitusyon para magdeklara ng ang presidente ng martial law at magsuspinde ng pribileho ng writ of habeas corpus ay dalawa po. Una, kinakailangan may nagaganap na rebellion. At pangalawa, na ito ay may banta sa public safety. No? At sa palagay po ng kinatawang ito ay hindi po napatunayan ng presidente sa kanyang proklamasyon at maging sa kanyang ulat o report sa Kongreso na may sapat na kondisyon, no, para magdeklara ng martial law sa buong Mindanao. No? Mr. Speaker, alam ko na executive session ang ulat kanina, kaya ang babanggitin ko lang po ay yung teksto mismo ng proklamasyon at saka ng report. Sa report ng Presidente, ang pinaka-teorya na kanyang binabanggit sa Kongreso na merong rebellion sa buong Mindanao sa pangunguna ng mga grupong affiliated sa ISIS na nagsimula ito sa Marawi at plano nilang ipailalim bilang hiwalay na probinsya sa isang tinatawag nilang Islamic province o wilayat ang buong Mindanao. To quote, sabi dito, in the President's report, these activities constitute not simply a display of force, but a clear attempt to establish the group's seat of power in Marawi for their planned establishment of a Daesh wilayat or province covering the entire Mindanao. Mr. Speaker, sa report mismo sinabi dito na plano pa lamang ang pagtatatag ng hiwalay na probinsya sa buong Mindanao, na hiwalay bilang bilang probinsya na hindi na sa ilalim ng Republika ng Pilipinas ang Mindanao. Mr. Speaker, ang hinihingi po ng konstitusyon ay may aktwal na rebellion. Madali po magplano, madali po magkaroon ng mga hangarin ang kung sino-sinong grupo, pero ang hinihingi po ay may aktwal na rebellion na naglalayon na ihiwalay ang buong teritoryo ng Mindanao mula sa Republika ng Pilipinas. Hindi po ito napatunayan sa ulat, sa proklamasyon at maging sa executive session kanina, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, malinaw rin na sa mga statement ng AFP mismo, no? Kahit mga media statement, sa labas pa nga ng kongresong ito, bago pa man magdeklara ng martial law, sinabi na nila, the situation is under full control at in fact, they are already in the stage of mapping up operations. So
The
pinapakita
chair
po
is
na
reminding
hindi...
the gentleman that he has exceeded the 3 minutes time.
Tatapusin ko na po na hindi po kailangan ng martial law powers para tugunan ang sitwasyon sa martial law. Kaya, importante po na gampanan ng Kongresong ito ang kanyang tungkulin, no, na sa isang joint session ng Kongreso ay bantayan, no, ang pang-aabuso sa matinding kapangyarihan ng Pangulo na magdeklara ng martial law at bawasan ang mga karapatan na ginagarantiya sa bawat Pilipino ng ating konstitusyon. At kaya po, muli, nililinaw ko, hindi po napatunayan na may sapat na batayan para magdeklara ng martial law at magsuspinde ng pribilehyo ng writ of habeas corpus sa buong Mindanao. Kaya kailangan pong bumoto ng no ang kapulungang ito. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
The parliamentary status is the House is about to vote to approve House Resolution number 1050. And after the discourse of Congressman Tino on the matter of his objection, we are now ready to vote. Those who are in favor of House Resolution number 1050, say aye.
Aye.
Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it.
May I move for a 1-minute suspension, Mr. Speaker?
Session suspended.
Tapos bababa rin. Meron na siya dito, ano?
Session resumed.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Concurrent Resolution number 10. And for this purpose, I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title and text of the concurrent resolution.
The Secretary General is directed to read the resolution. House Concurrent Resolution number 10, concurrent resolution providing for the adjournment of the first regular session of the 17th Congress of the Philippines not later than 12 o'clock midnight today, Wednesday, May 31, 2017. Resolved by the House of Representatives, the Senate concurring, that the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives be authorized, as they are hereby authorized, to declare the first regular session of the 17th Congress of the Philippines adjourned sine die by adjourning the sessions of the respective houses not later than 12 o'clock midnight today, Wednesday, May 31, 2017. Resolved further that a committee composed of all deputy speakers of the House of Representatives be appointed to join a committee of the Senate to inform President Rodrigo Roa Duterte that the first regular session of the 7th Congress is about to close and that the two houses are ready to adjourn unless the President has a message or communication to transmit to them.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Concurrent Resolution number 10.
There is a motion to adopt House Concurrent Resolution number 10. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. House Concurrent Resolution number 10 is adopted.
Mr. Speaker, in view of the adoption of House Concurrent Resolution number 10, which likewise authorizes the appointment of a joint committee of both houses to inform the President of the Philippines of the adjournment of the first regular session of the 17th Congress, I move that we elect all the deputy speakers of the House to the said joint committee.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. All the deputy speakers of the House are hereby elected to the committee to notify the President of the Philippines of the adjournment of the first regular session of the 17th Congress.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 1044, and I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title and text of the resolution.
The Secretary General is instructed to read the title and text of the resolution.
House Resolution number 1044. Resolution declaring the Journal of the Session dated May 31, 2017 as having been read and approved. Resolved by the House of Representatives that the Speaker be authorized, as he is hereby authorized, to review and approve the Journal of the Session dated May 31, 2017, and that the approval by him of such journal shall be valid and effective for all purposes as it was approved directly by the House of Representatives.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 1044.
There is a motion to adopt House Resolution number 1044. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. House Resolution number 1044 is adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the suspension of the session to enable the Secretariat to transmit the messages to the Senate and the resolutions we have adopted.
Session is suspended. Session is resumed. The Honorable Majority Leader is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of the message from the Senate. I move for the consideration of the same.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, consideration of message from the Senate is now in order. Secretary General is instructed to read the message from the Senate.
Your Honors, we are in receipt of a message from the Senate dated May 31, 2017, informing the House of Representatives that the Senate on even date concurred with House Concurrent Resolution number 10.
To the archives.
Mr. Speaker, earlier we have adopted House Concurrent Resolution number 10, providing for the adjournment of the first regular session of the 17th Congress, as well as the creation of a joint notification committee. In order to give the members of the joint committee time to perform their assigned task and until the House counterpart is ready to report back its accomplishment to this House, I move for the suspension of the session.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Session is suspended. Session is resumed. The Honorable Majority Leader is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, we have received a report from the Joint Committee that the President has been informed that the first regular session of the 17th Congress will adjourn tonight.
The remarks of the Majority Leader are duly noted.
Mr. Speaker, the House will now consider a resolution affecting the Honorable Speaker Pantaleon de Alvarez. I now ask that pursuant to parliamentary practice, the Minority Leader be recognized to proceed to the rostrum to preside over the session.
The Minority Leader, Danilo Suarez, is requested to proceed to the rostrum to preside over the session. Session is suspended.
Danny.
Session is resumed.
Mr. Speaker, I understand that the Honorable Presiding Officer, the distinguished gentleman from Quezon, the Minority Leader, would like to address the chamber.
Your Honors, today marks the last day of the first regular session of the 17th Congress. After 97 days, the House has approved 220 bills, adopted 60 resolutions. 178 bills are pending in the Senate, while 24 bills are pending with the President. 4 bills have been enacted into law, namely the 2017 General Appropriations Act, postponement of the SK and barangay election, franchise renewal of GMA Network and Smart Communication. As we adjourn the first regular session, I am honored and humbled to work alongside all the honorable representatives here who have debated on critical matters and offered creative solutions to address the problem of our nation. Conflicts are inevitable, though there were times when we differed in our opinions, beliefs, and interests. This did not hinder us to work together and achieve noteworthy results. I commend Majority Leader Pariñas, seriously commending him, and Speaker Alvarez for their great leadership. They had been steadfast with their decisions, which led to a stronger and more independent House. And lastly, thank you, my fellow minority members, for your active participations. You have always upheld the interests of the districts and sectors you represented. Mga kasama, ito po ang aking pang-19 na taon dito sa noble institution na ito. I was elected 1992, served 3 consecutive term. Pinaltan po ako ng misis ko ng 2 beses. So in effect, this is my 25th year serving this noble house. But this is a different administration. I have served president and speaker. And with my apology to former speakers, I would say that the first statement of the president saying, "I'll do my job, you do yours," was an opening of a different Congress. And let me commend the fact that we have a speaker who wants to assert what Congress is and do the job of a congressman. After the break, we will be back for the SONA and start debating on the 2018 budget. I ask you, distinguished members, fight for your right. Hindi na ho pwede ngayon na isasalang lamang sa atin ang plano ng 2018 at aaprubahan natin. And after a thorough debate here, sasabihin lahat na observation ng congressman, noted. Wag na ho tayong pumayag this time. This time, we will ask the executive why and where and why should it be there. And it's the right to congressman to assert what we feel should be applied on those respective funds, especially those that will be affecting our districts. Wag na ho tayong pumayag na bigla na lang may ginagawa sa atin na hindi natin alam at hindi man lang nagpapasantabi na may gagawin kami sa distrito mo. And for that, I believe we will have the support of the President and our Majority Speaker, Majority Leader, and our Speaker. Kaya inaasahan ko po, after this break, mga kasama, tayo ay congressman, we have the power of the purse. Let's do what's supposed to be done. Marami pong salamat.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 1045 and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the resolution.
The Secretary is directed to read the title.
House Resolution 1045, resolution commending Speaker Pantaleon D. Alvarez for his competent and effective stewardship of the House of Representatives during the first regular session of the 17th Congress.
Mr. Speaker, this representation will deliver the sponsorship speech of House Resolution number 1045.
The Majority Leader is recognized to deliver his sponsorship speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, good evening. Parang kahapon lang nag-uumpisa tayo dito. Ngayon, patapos na tayo ng first regular session. I've been a member of several congresses, and I can honestly say that this is a different Congress. Ibang-iba. I've heard a lot of accolades from you, saying, ang galing mo, Madjo, ang galing mo. Hindi po ako magaling. Ang magaling po yung speaker na pumili ng majority leader. To start a mission of change is never a walk in the park. To head an assembly of leaders from different political persuasion requires courage and an uncompromising authority. Today, after almost a year of able stewardship of the House of Representatives, we close the first regular session of the 17th Congress with a deep sense of fulfillment, with one person shepherding us collectively to work for a better nation. That person is no other than Speaker Pantaleon D. Alvarez. With Speaker Alvarez at the helm of this august chamber, we approved several measures, both on second and third readings. These measures represent the collective commitment to establish an environment of inclusive growth for every Filipino. Showing dynamism in his leadership, Speaker Alvarez recognizes the value of discourse and the variety of perspectives. He successfully unifies political blocs to create a strong majority that supports the legislative agenda of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. The Speaker's exemplary leadership likewise fosters healthy dissent from the minority and the independents that broadens the standpoint of the House on issues of national and international significance. Speaker Alvarez has instituted reforms in facilitating the proceedings in committee meetings as well as in plenary. Of the 97 session days during our first regular session, the calling of the roll was done 95 times. In fact, for the second regular session, the Speaker has approved a memorandum which was previously distributed to all members stating that the roll call will commence right after the calling of the session to order at 4 o'clock p.m. I'm so happy to note, Mr. Speaker, that on the first day of our session, we called the roll at 4 o'clock p.m. And on the last day of the first regular session, the roll call was also promptly called at 4 o'clock p.m. We hope to do this every single session day, next regular session, under the leadership of Speaker Alvarez. With the leadership of Speaker Alvarez, the House is indeed on its way to establish a new era of government service As of today, the House continues to enjoy a relative popular support from the more than 100 million Filipinos who consistently believe in our promise of change. On behalf of the members of the House of Representatives, it is my distinct honor to express our appreciation and recognition to the strong and compassionate leadership of the Honorable Speaker, characterized by honesty, transparency, competence, and genuine desire to instill lasting and meaningful change. His commitment to deliver the highest degree of public service as the head of the House of Representatives. He deserves a profound ovation and acclaim for this august chamber. Thank you. And on behalf of the body, I move for the House to adopt Resolution number 1045.
There is a motion to adopt House Resolution number 1045. Is there any objection? Hearing none, House Resolution number 1045 is adopted. The Chair requests all the Deputy Speakers to escort Speaker Alvarez to the session hall to address the body. Session is suspended.
Thank you, thank you. Session is resumed. The chair will now address the body. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues here in the House of Representatives, good evening. By the end of today, we will adjourn the first session of the House of Representatives of the 17th Congress. As we prepare for our adjournment, let us look back at how it all started, the odds we faced, and the resolve that we demonstrated. Hopefully, our collective experiences will give us guidance and shed light on the difficult roads ahead. Here in this chamber, we were tasked to legislate and address what may be called the pain points of ordinary life. As we gather here today, we can proudly say to the Filipino people that the laws we passed will address these problems they face every day. To start off, we have ratified the amendment to the Passport Act, which now extends the validity of our passports to 10 years. We are also on track with extending the validity of the driver's license by law to 5 years. We have also passed on third reading, and the same is on track for ratification, an act strengthening the protection for Filipinos who are in need of emergency health care service. The weak points of the law have been remedied to protect the weakest of our society at a time when they are most vulnerable. Mothers who are about to give birth and patients who are rushed to the emergency room will be administered the required medical care and attention. PhilHealth shall shoulder all the expenses advanced by hospitals for emergency care given to poor and indigent patients. We have also reviewed and updated our revised penal code, giving new life to its pursuit for justice. The imposed fines and violations from which penalties are based were crafted in 1930. That was 87 years ago. The amounts are grossly disproportionate to the existing realities of our time. For example, the act of treason under the old revised penal code imposes a fine not exceeding 100,000 pesos. We have raised this to a more proportionate fine not exceeding 4 million pesos. Moreover, we have revised the Anti-Money Laundering Act to include the casino sector under its coverage by mandating casinos to report suspicious transactions to the Anti-Money Laundering Council, imposing stringent customer identification requirements and record-keeping systems, and prohibiting the conversion of money not used for gambling. This bill can effectively curb the use of casinos as avenues for anomalous transactions. We have also made possible access to free internet in public spaces. This bill has been ratified and is awaiting the signature of the President of the Philippines. When it becomes a law, it will further empower the Filipino people in using information and communications technology as they go about with their daily lives. This ensures the success of Filipinos in a data-driven world. Taking heed of the timeless lesson that education is key for a nation to prosper and progress, higher education provided by our state universities and colleges will now be more affordable for all. This bill has been ratified. All that it requires is the signature of the President. Further, just this afternoon, we have successfully passed on third reading the tax reform package of the present administration. This legislative measure will correct the outdated system of the 1997 National Internal Revenue Code. Lastly, there are several bills of equal or greater importance that are at the doorstep of being passed and ratified. While it is likely that these might not be enrolled before we adjourn, let us commit that when Congress resumes in July, we give these bills the final push as we bring them to legal life. Within just 1 year from being convened last July 2016, and despite one of the most divisive and partisan elections to date, we can proudly tell the Filipino people that we have delivered legislation that will affect their daily lives in a positive way. Let what we have accomplished remind us that we have the power to determine the frontiers of what is possible, that we can exercise the virtue of resilience and embody the value of hard work as we forge forward. While these are good news, let us not yet celebrate. To do so would be premature, for there are still many more tasks ahead for us. Together, let us commit to facing these challenges. It is our sacred duty as public servants. On a final note, let us take a somber moment to remember the events presently unfolding in the main island of Mindanao. Thousands have been displaced, and the firefight has resulted to casualties on the part of our valiant soldiers and innocent civilians. Likewise, many of those who seek to realize a horrible vision incompatible with the values of a civilized world through the use of terror have been neutralized. We have to do our part in sharing the heavy burden of what happened in Marawi City. To this end, may I inform you that the House of Representatives has taken the initiative to create a trust fund to aid in this mission. This will be our concerted answer to the challenge that extremists present. They seek to sow terror, but we will show them our courageous resolve. They seek to destroy, but we shall defend and rebuild. With our unified efforts, they will never win. Let us reiterate the timeless truth that hope will always prevail over hate. Thank you, good evening, and may God bless the Philippines. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, before I make our favorite motion, I wish to commend and express my sincerest gratitude to all the members of this body for the sterling performance that we all performed in calling the roll 95 times, and each time there was quorum. A big hand to yourselves, please. May I also commend and thank the members of the Rules my colleagues in the Rules Committee, headed by Senior Deputy Majority Leader Rimpi Bondok, and the members of the committee. I wish to commend and thank also the Honorable Minority Leader Danny Suarez and his Senior Deputy Minority Leader and the members of the minority. Thank you very much. I wish also to commend and thank our colleagues from the group of independents. Thank you very much. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I also wish to make a special mention of thanking all the committee chairpersons and their members, especially the Committee on Transportation headed by Chairman Cesar Sarmiento, who is equaling the number of meetings that the Committee on Rules has made every week, meeting without fail. To the Secretary General, Cesar Parea, Sergeant at Arms, Roland De Tabali, the Deputy Secretary Generals for Plenary Affairs, Committee Affairs, Finance. Finance, please ready with our checks because this will be a long break. Legal, Engineering, our pages, and all the officers and employees of the House of Representatives. Maraming salamat and congratulations to you. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn sine die the first regular session until the opening of the second regular session on Monday, July 24, 2017 at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The first regular session of the 17th Congress of the Republic of the Philippines is hereby adjourned sine die.
Yeah, tomorrow. Bus ka ba? Okay, for posterity, may I request everybody for picture taking with the speaker, starting with Region 1. Yan. All Region 1 members with the speaker. Kasi hindi naman tayo magkasya kung tayo lahat eh. Para may photo ops naman tayo. O, Region 1, please.